Haven't you heard that before?
Yeah, not that story, no.
Hello and welcome. You may have an opportunity to win over $8,000 if you participate in what you're going to hear about in the next 30 minutes. And if you do, you're going to tithe 10% to Victory Network for the upcoming project that's coming up. And what's it all about? It is the granddaddy of all of the fiddlers conventions in this whole Mid-South area. It's the 25th anniversary, and we have a couple people here that are going to tell us about it. Not only that, if you call on the phone, you're really nice and really participate in the upcoming sing-a-thon, well, Patty Allen may come out and sing. Who knows? Maybe I will too. The last time I did, I think it raised hundreds of nickels and pennies. Who knows what it'll raise? But the people here are part of the, well, for one thing, I met these two, and I won't say what they are. One's the Church of Christ and one's Presbyterian. What else can I say? They're part of the Alabama Speakers Association, the National Speakers Association, and they have a group called the Human Connection. But we're not going to talk a whole lot about any of those. We're going to talk about the convention. But you know what? We're going to get to hear a person play live, and that guy's name is Bob Meke, and he is going to play the accordion. And also Bill Sandlin is here, and he's going to talk about this 25th anniversary that's coming up. Welcome to Vision Plus.
Thank you,
and
Bonnie.
TVN.
Thank you, Bonnie.
We're glad that you're here. Now tell me, you know all the questions I asked you ahead of time, who, where, when, what, how, and why, and tell and describe. So tell us about the 25th, the granddaddy of all Mid-South conventions, fiddlers conventions. When's it coming up?
It's coming up the 4th and 5th of October. It's always the first full weekend in October, and Friday and Saturday has to be in October in order to get by the audit procedures for Athens State College, because the fiscal year ends on the last day of September and the other one begins, and if it falls in both months, they have a problem there. But it starts next Friday.
And that is a time when families get together and have a lot of fun, clean fun, and bring a couple of cotton balls for your ears if it's too loud.
Great
We're going to.
music.
Oh, okay. All right. You're sure about that. We're going to find out in just a couple minutes. It's not exactly a fiddle, but it's going to be what we can have.
On the basis of that.
Okay. Bill, how long have you been involved?
I've been involved with the Fiddlers Convention there in Athens. This will be my 24th year.
24th. You missed a year.
Yeah, they had the first convention was out in the county, and it was at West Limestone. That was in 1966. And in 1967, they moved to Athens State College campus, and it's been there for the last 24 years. But this is the 25th anniversary, my 24th year.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll let you miss one out of the last 25.
Well, I didn't know about it. Well, I did know about it, too, but I didn't go to participate in it. But I got involved on the other one. I got the golden handshake. A friend of mine, I'd taken him to a Toastmasters meeting, and about 3 weeks after he went to our meeting, he called me and said, "Hey, BJ, we're having a fiddlers convention at Athens State College. You'll be the MC, won't you?" So
that's it.
That's it.
So
I've been there ever since.
You've been the MC ever since. So you don't have to play fiddle to become involved in it and to enjoy yourself.
My dad-in-law was a fiddler while he was living, and his son fiddles, but he doesn't fiddle in the contest.
Well, let's hear something now. Right after we tell you are a professor at Athens State doing teaching programming, in computers. And do your students know how much fun you can have when you really want to?
I'm not sure about that.
They may not know. Well, tell me about the Human Connection, a little bit about that program that you're involved in.
Well, the Human Connection is a group of four fellas that came together as partners. And
we want to make sure that you realize it's not humanist. This is just people loving and helping each other.
That's right.
And we call ourselves people builders. And we deal with the four basic areas of concern: attitude, self-esteem, stress, and effective listening. And my role in it is the last one, listening.
listening. And right now you're going to be participatory
Yeah.
by playing, and I would like to hear you play Twilight Time.
All right, here we go. How much of this? Is that enough?
Okay, I guess that's enough. And I want that roaring applause. Patty, oh, okay, Patty Allen,
Thank
that's
you,
great.
Patty.
Patty, we're going to have her do more than that.
Great.
When you sing, when you play Edelweiss,
Wonderful.
then we're going to have a little fun with that too. Bill, how long have you been involved with the Human Connection?
Well, I don't know what our starting date was.
87.
87.
So
about-
how do you
about 4
help
years ago.
someone have positive self-esteem? That's supposed to be the #1 disease in the year 2000 is a low self-image. How do you help a person have a better self-image?
Self-image is a communication problem. You're talking to yourself, and what you tell yourself, you believe, and you become what you think about. So if you're not telling yourself the proper things in a positive way so that you can be positive, I tell people when I do my attitudes seminar that everything we want in life is positive, and you won't get positive results with negative thinking. So if you're talking to yourself in language that keeps putting you down instead of language that builds you up, then you're not going to have good self-esteem. But your self-esteem is going to come by the way you talk to yourself, and then your outer communications is how you talk to other people.
As the Bible says, as man thinketh, so is he.
Solomon said it well.
Oh, he did, didn't he? And that is, we're condemned by the words of our mouth, so the thoughts that are inside of us come out in the words of our mouth, or we're blessed by the words that we say, and the words can only come by the thoughts that are in there. How did you guys decide to come on these 4 subjects of attitude and self-esteem and team building, stress management, and team
listening.
and listen? Oh, yes.
Well, all 4 of us were members of the Toastmasters, and when I first got in Toastmasters about 25 years ago, I was so shy I couldn't lead a silent prayer, and it was almost that bad.
Church of Christ person couldn't lead a silent prayer.
That's right, and that's how shy I was. But in the years...
Do you lie about other things, too?
No. But in the
Really
years
shy.
making speeches to Toastmasters, I kept gravitating towards motivation, inspiration, positive thinking. And the more speeches I got, the more things I was talking about on those different areas, and I just kind of gravitated to it, and I'm glad that I did, because I needed a positive build-up too. But then Bob was teaching around and talking about communication. Of course, he's been a manager down at TVA, and communication is a...
Now, you're actually an aerospace engineer.
I was an aerospace engineer with the Department of the Army for 30 years.
30 years, just
20
a couple,
years with them, and as a chemist for part of the time too.
couple days.
Yeah.
So that you knew that you had to have a good self-esteem and a great attitude to work with that group of people, right?
Yeah, I got to have a sense of humor too.
I understand that you know about grandfathers, why they don't have children, right?
I found that out. Yeah, we can't remember where we left them.
Bill, now you have the attitude. How does a person have a good attitude?
Well, it goes back to how you talk to yourself. Attitude is nothing more than a habit of thought. It's
Abraham
the way,
Lincoln said you can be about as happy
yeah,
as you make
you
up.
want to be.
you-
Well,
you
an
want to
attitude
be.
is nothing but a habit of thought. It's the way we feel, think, and act towards people, places, and things and ideas. And everybody has an attitude about the things around them.
Now they're kind of using that word different, and they say, well, don't have an attitude about it.
Yeah.
And they're meaning
But
a
they
negative
do.
attitude.
And people see our attitudes. They're on display. Now, I got a granddaughter that's in the 1st grade, and the teacher can walk in, set her material down on the desk, and the kids know what kind of day it's going to be, and she hasn't said a word yet. Why? They can see her attitude of the day. And we normally describe our attitudes to other people, well, they got a good personality, or their personality stinks. What we're saying, their personality is a reflection of their attitudes.
How can you change your personality or attitude to make it a better attitude?
Well, you got to want to. You're the only person.
Desire.
Right.
So it's got to be a real burning desire to enjoy each day, each hour,
Exactly.
which makes a happy day or a joyous day.
Yeah.
This is the day the Lord hath made. I will rejoice and be glad in it.
Exactly.
Right.
And go ahead.
That's the only day you got.
That's right.
Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not here. So today's the only day you have any hopes in.
Stop to think about it, though. It's not days, it's moments. You can only live your life moment by moment, one after the other, but
Precept
moment by
upon
moment.
precept.
Exactly. So that's how you really live life. And if you're going to get the most out of each moment, then you have to seek to bring out the best that is possible, wherever you happen to be. And the good Lord brings you challenges in your life, moment by moment.
We're created in His image, so we have to be, as they say, God don't make no junk. So we're not all that bad somehow. So what we do with our life is our gift back to Him.
If you go bad, you do it on your own.
You do it on your own, huh? We're not, do you learn humor? Is that inherent in a person, or can another person learn humor? You said you got to do things with sense
Well,
of
I'm
humor.
sure you can, because there's people out there teaching humor classes all over the country.
How do you think you learn humor?
Well, humor is usually, the best humor is things that have happened to you that are funny. And I tell people this little story. When I first went to Athens College, it was a Methodist school. This was back in 1954 to 59. And I tell the little story about, I was walking around the campus one night. We went to night school on GI Bill. And I walked around the building, and I had my head down, and I walked up, and there's a little old lady standing there, and she said, "Are you lost?" And I said, "I think I am. Can you help me?" She says, "I'll try."
I love it. Well, you got saved, so now you're not lost anymore. That's good. So you found your way around campus in addition to that, didn't you? That's good. How about you? How did you guys decide to do this? Now, your job, you said, is listening. You get on the platform and you listen?
Oh, yes.
And you get paid too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. How did people learn the art of listening?
Well, it's like Bill says, you have to have that desire. It's like how you learn anything. How did I learn to play this accordion? It was desire. It was a sincere interest on my part. And I learned it by playing by ear. I had a little Victrola that you could adjust.
This was in '09,
way
wasn't it,
back.
Bob?
It was when I was about,
A Victrola. Did you wind it up like
this?
this?
Was before TV.
Didn't even have to plug it in.
Right, just crank it. And I'd adjust the lever and get everything in the key of C, which meant that I could play it all in the white keys. And that's how I learned to play. And then eventually when I got to Athens, mind you now, I was in the 50s, age 50 plus, okay? Mm-hmm. And I ran into a gentleman who was a professional accordionist 5 miles from my house, and he agreed to take me on. And I studied under him.
And you can teach an old dog new tricks.
You certainly can.
Okay.
Is Gene out of the hospital yet?
Okay, well, we want you to play Edelweiss, and Patty is going
Patty
to
there?
come over here, and we don't know what we're going to do, but
All
we're
right.
going to have fun. And if people never get to see this, it's edited out. We'll let him go through it once. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord, praise the Lord, alleluia. it once without never having done it.
That's great.
It's fun.
Don't applaud, throw
Hey, if you
quarters.
guys want to edit this out of the tape, you're very welcome to do that. But that was fun. But Edelweiss, a lot of people know as, you know, the tune that was...
We
what's the
sing it
song?
at the close of our service, our
Oh,
worship
really?
service.
Oh, you
every
do?
Sunday,
Oh,
yes.
is that right?
It's really nice.
Oh, okay. It was. Now, this was what you call impromptu singing, and Toastmasters, we've never tried that. I'm in two Toastmasters groups.
Are you?
Really?
Here at
Great.
Redstone and also Gunnersville.
Great.
Well, Albertville.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really terrific
How long have
play.
you been in it?
Well, a couple years here. So I was in Toastmasters back in the olden days before it's disbanded now. As far
Well,
as
it's
I
called
know.
training something.
Yeah, International Training
okay, yeah.
Communication, something like that.
But Bob was saying he learned to play by ear. It reminded me of a story when we first started the Fiddlers Convention a couple of years or so. One of the older fiddlers, about 80-something years old, and of course a lot of people...
About Bob's and my age. Huh?
Well, no, I don't know if it's that old or not. But people in the media, you know, was always interviewing the old fiddlers, and they asked one old gentleman, said, can you read music? And he said, yeah, but not enough to affect my playing. So I thought of that when Bob said he learned by ear.
You're right. What are some of the things that have happened over this past 24 years? As far as, have you ever had just a hilarious thing happen? Somebody fell off the stage? That wouldn't be too hilarious.
Now the stage is pretty wide. Nobody's fell off of it. It's just a great event. We have some 13 different events, you know, for old-time fiddling, beginner fiddlers, junior fiddlers, dulcimers, old-time bands, bluegrass
Great
band.
food, too.
Banjo, bluegrass, and old-time, and guitar,
Yeah,
and
harmonica,
mandolin,
too.
harmonica,
I saw at
old-time singing.
the Grant Fiddlers Convention. I don't know if it's called Grant. It was at Grant this past year. Well, in fact, just 6 months ago or so. This girl played Beulah Land. That group. Oh, that was so good. You know how to play that one?
No, I
Oh, you know how to play that? Okay. But, oh, it was wonderful. And so you just have... I thought it was so neat because you saw all the little kids running around. Their parents just allowed them to be free. They were all well behaved. You didn't see any cutting up. You saw the teenagers out on the fence, you know, periphery, getting acquainted with each other. But yet there was not anything going on that shouldn't have been going on. It was real old-fashioned good fun, and that was so exciting. So I know that happens even more so at a,
Well, that's the way it is
at the
at Athens.
Granddaddy.
At Athens, yeah.
Probably that's a place where people have met and they're now married and their children are there.
Probably so, because the Fiddle King last year, in the last 2 years really, Daniel Carwile, back when he was 7 years old, he used to come out there, and he could play the fiddle some then. And he would stand around and watch the old guys. He'd just stare them. They're right in the, you know, just sit there and look at them intensely. And he could go play it. And he just picks it up. He's got a musical scholarship now with Vanderbilt. Won't be able to be there this year, but
Why?
he couldn't compete anyway because he wins
Tremendous.
2 years in a row. You have to sit out one. So
Tremendous talent.
he's got.
Now, if you what in 2 years?
you win,
now?
you win a category.
Oh, I see.
See, what
he
we
can't
do,
be
we-
there because he can't win because
Yeah.
he's won twice.
He's the Fiddle King the last 2 years. So what we do, we take the winner of the junior fiddler classification and the senior fiddlers, and they fiddle off at the end of the convention, and they're crowned the Tennessee Valley Fiddle King. And Daniel has won at the age, well, he first won at the age of 14, and in the last 2 years.
Now, you know these kids are not getting involved in drugs and drinking and all the things they shouldn't be doing because they have something that they can do too. That's one of the things that I sometimes grieve about in a church service is all the people are older or, you know, grown up that are participating, and so many times they don't have the young people doing things. And it's so good to have some kind of activity where the whole family can be involved. That's one of the
Well, music is.
that is just terrific.
Music is excellent therapy. That's how I use it.
And when you say therapy, both of you come from engineering backgrounds, where you always think of engineers weaned on a pickle, and No, you're not
I
going
don't fit the category.
That's right. I've been married to one for 30 plus years. So.
Really?
Sorry about that.
No, no, he's a fun person. He thinks he can say funny things, but he just doesn't laugh himself. It's like a dry humor that he has. But you think of that as engineers, and you don't think of them getting involved in fiddlers conventions.
Well, like I said, I got the golden handshake. You can't turn a friend down.
Yes, his buddy is Dr. McNutt over at Athens State College. They grew up kind of together.
Yeah, he was across the creek from us.
Yeah.
And who is Dr. McNutt?
He's
Well,
head
he's
of the
the
science
head.
division
Yes.
in Athens State.
And so what does he have to do with the fiddlers convention?
He and Dr. Short, who retired a couple of years ago, did the registration for the fiddlers. The musicians that come in, something like 200 people will enter different categories, and they register them.
I know
Give them
these
numbers.
people, and I bet you have the same thing. Do you have people that come and spend the weekend there as
Oh,
far as they
yeah.
bring their vehicles, their Winnebagos or whatever?
That's right, yeah. A lot of them come just to hear the jam sessions. They'll start arriving Wednesday and Thursday of next week.
They use their vacation time to
Sure.
come over there.
And they will sit around wherever they're parked, and people will gather with their instruments. I don't know, back many years ago.
Even if they're not going to be on stage.
Oh yeah, they don't ever compete. They just come to jam and to hear other people jam. Several years ago, when the people would drive up on Thursday and Friday morning, and somebody would open the trunk, get an instrument out, and start thumping on it, and somebody would walk by with their instrument, and they'd say, "Do you know so and so?" He said, "I don't know. You start it, and I'll follow you." And they just crowd would get around, pretty soon they have 5 or 6
Tell
people.
them about all those Airstream trailers that come in from all over the country.
Well, do they come in at that time too? Because that's really...
Yeah, there was a group that, well, Mr. Owsley set it up. They had, I guess it's kind of a mini rally. We had something like, what, 100 trailers this year
Very cool.
before.
Boy,
that, yes.
don't call an Airstream a trailer. You're going to be in a lot of trouble.
It looks like
I
a
mean,
trailer.
they are.
A duck is a duck is a duck.
A rose may be a rose, but Airstream is not a trailer.
But we'll have probably 50 or 60 Airstreams this year. Some of them want to come back, although it's not set up as a regular stop. Now, next year, we're anticipating they're having a rally somewhere in Tennessee the weekend after the Fiddlers Convention that a lot of people in the Southeast will make this a stop the weekend before.
Now, you also, in your human connection, which is, I keep reminding people, this is a loving communication group of people. We didn't address was the stress management that you participate in. You teach people. How do you teach people stress management?
Well, Dr. Hand does that. He's a retired physician, and he teaches stress management and control. And he starts out by defining what stress is, why people have it, and it's not all bad. When a batter gets up to bat, he's under stress, which is good. His adrenaline's flowing. An athlete, the same way. But he tells us that once you see that you have the stress, you start looking for what's causing it. Maybe it's the job you have, that there's some piece of equipment or something that you have to do just drives you up the wall. But if you learn as much as you can about it, the more you learn about the operation and the equipment and the machinery or whatever it is that's causing it, the less stress you have about it. You just get rid of it because you become familiar with what it is you're doing and the stress goes away.
And if you didn't get rid of the stress, you go and you get the newspaper and wrap it up and you jump down on the floor and you take that newspaper and beat it up and say, "Tony, take this, you know."
I never heard him tell that.
Oh, okay, no, you don't tell that. We do that sometimes.
Well, that's a way of life because when you're born into this world, that's the beginning of stress.
You got that. Let's lighten this up by hearing you light up my life.
Oh, you like that one?
Oh,
All
yes.
right, let's see.
And if you would, just go right on into memories after that. Edelweiss, and then we want to end it with Edelweiss, going back to Edelweiss.
You want that Edelweiss? Now?
No, right after memory.
Are you going to sing? No singing?
No, I'm not going to sing. We're listening to Bob Meke, and also we've been talking with Bill Sandlin, and we've been talking about the 25th Annual Fiddlers Convention to be at the Athens State College in Athens, Alabama. That's midway between Nashville and Birmingham, and most of you in this area would know about that. And I thank you, Bill and Bob, for being here. So just continue to play, and I want you, yeah, go ahead and play Edelweiss.
We don't want to end it now. She said be fine.
We thank all of you for watching. Bill Sandlin and Bob Meke with the Fiddlers Convention in Athens. I'm Bonnie Libhart, and bless your heart for watching Vision Plus.